All right, here we go. Muscoot River scouting trip after a shitty day of work on Monday. It's tailwater in between Imwalk Reservoir and another reservoir, Westchester County. Starting off 216s, 2.8s, I think Walt, regular Walt, nothing shiny, and a blowtorch. Nice little calm pocket over there on the other side of the fast water. Not really sure about the river. Never been there, but it's within an hour. I had a bad day, so I headed on over. Brought the action cam just to see what happens. And, just proofing it out. And not really sure. Can't really tell if I'm hitting bottom right there or not. But then I get it in there and fling what I think is a chub, and then look, and it's actually a tiny brown chart, probably 4 inches or less. So I got to check with the wild fish nerds, but I think that that's a stream bred brown trout, and I am on the board. Didn't pick up any more in that spot, so moved up a little bit, saw these rocks, and I'm probably too close right now, but I did take a couple casts into that calm before I got up this close. And so I'm tying on, looks a little bit deeper, so I'm tying on a little bit heavier flies than the 16s that were in that original skinny water that I started on. But look at that, they're just beautiful run right there. So, it looks like, yeah, I went with the Thunder here. I put on a mop just to see. Kept the Waltz on the dropper, and boom. First drift, took the dropper. Another, what I think is a wild brown. The state stocks 8-inch fish according to the DEC website, and that fish was nowhere near 8 inches. So I think that might be stream bred. All right, no more from that. So then I had this huge pool right up above those rocks. And so I said, well, I better stop an indicator the back part of this pool before I start getting in there and spooking everything. So we plopped down the indicator. Still got the Waltz, I think, and cream mop down bottom. Although the cream mop didn't do too good this session. This is pretty deep. I'd say over 4 feet where that back swirl is. And I don't know about that other foam section across the way. It's just real deep. But, bam. Little indicator action. And it looks like it was on the dropper again. Can't really tell. No, point fly maybe. A little bit bigger brown this time. All browns tonight. Or this night, I should say. This is Monday night after work. Rocking a new Frable net. That's a 22-inch net. It's a little bit big for this stream, but I kind of like the reach of the handle. And I was drunk browsing one night. It jumped in my cart. It's a pretty cheap net. I think it was like 35 bucks. It's called Frable Floating Trout. All right, moved up a little bit. Just again, trying to cover this slack. I see a really nice tight line shoot up above, but I wanted to cover this slack because it's still not that warm, and this is technically a tailwater according to the books. So it was pretty cool, the water. I didn't take a temp because I knew it would be all right, and I really just wanted to fish. If I had more time, I'd probably start taking more temperatures, but I only got 2 hours. It felt cold, so I just fished. And letting it drift down, trying to cover all of this slack that I won't be able to reach when I start going up tight lining, and bam, miss. Right on the other edge of the broken water. Yeah, you can kind of see the indicator. Maybe after it renders, it'll be a little better. And extending the drift down all the way at the end, and it looks like the little guys are sitting down there. I think at this time I started switching to plevopertagon down bottom, and I kept the waltz up top so it caught some fish. So that was probably a plevopertagon size 14, 3.3. All right, didn't catch any on that awesome looking chute to the right. But as I was walking by, I noticed this tree and that little pool behind the tree. And even though this is skinny water, I figured, why don't you give this a couple drifts? You know, I was walking by, the camera was still running. Boy, that was a bad first drift. But now, maybe a little better. Bam. Nope. Miss. And there it is. Using the back part and quick releaser. Sometimes that's how she goes. All right, then I moved upstream from there, and then there's this other deep pool. Just a ridiculous foam line. So decided we'll put the indicator on, get this back part. This is kind of hard to fish because there is no really good place to wade on this side of that stream, and on the far side you'd be right on top of the fish and the road. Now you just saw the car go by. Well, I think I just missed a fish there. I'm casting just to the broken water, out of frame, and launched the little guy right out of the pool. And these are little fish. I'll post it on Instagram. We'll see what the wild fish nerds say. I think they're wild, but they're tiny. I mean, their mouths are like the same size as a 14 plevopertagon. But they were hungry. Now just keep drifting, keep drifting. Kind of get an idea of where they're laying when you catch them one or you miss one. And then just cover that whole area like a 3-foot circle all around that area. Make sure you get a drift through all of it. Then, it's not working, change it up. I'm providing my own clouds, although I didn't need them because it was kind of drizzling the whole time. But it was a nice night, really good night to fish. Needed that therapy. Bam. That one was closer to me. I kind of bank road, straight up above me, come down. Nice sized fish too. I'd be willing to say that might be a stalker, that size, but I cannot see him stalking such tiny fish, although I might be wrong. I'm wrong about a lot of things. Get back in there, switch it up. All right, now I don't know why this clip was really blown out. I probably hit something on the camera inadvertently, but it just looks messy. But now I'm semi tight lining this seam right here, trying to keep it in between that super calm and the fast, because right where I'm standing was where I caught a couple of those fish and it looked fishy, the same kind of fishiness over there, and bam, there's another little guy sitting there. Now that I'm watching it, this net is way overkill for this stream, but I had no idea. Never been here in Muscoot River, Westchester County, New York. Lots of trout. This is one I think I take a picture of, or try to take a picture of, to try to determine later on, hey, are these wild or stocked, or provide proof. And I could barely get a hold of them. And then as soon as I do, and I try to get them in my hand, try to get them back, and we'll see. Not the best picture, but at least we'll try to see if they're wild or not. I'm gonna get back in there. Still going Pleva Perdigon, I think 3.3, and I got a Waltz up top 2.8. The wind, amazingly, was almost non-existent the whole night. It's shocking to actually fish. I mean, it was a little drizzle, but it wasn't constant. It was a really nice night. I'm glad that I did it. And a really nice stream. Be looking forward to exploring more of it. It seems like they prefer that far bank, so I focused on it. Just drifting really nice and easy through that slow stuff. You see my rod goes way slower than the current goes. If you're going the same speed as the current, you're probably pulling your flies, or you don't have enough weight on. You really want to focus on letting it get to the bottom layers of the river and slowing it right down. And someone calls it the downshift. I forget who calls it the downshift, but if you pay attention, you can see it. And there we go. Wasn't ready for him. Quick releaser. Too busy getting the nicotine fix. But look at me dig right back in there for it. It's been a stressful couple weeks. Not leaving the segment in just to show how many drifts it takes until you find where the fish are. You know, covering little pockets. Not long casts. It's probably right at the end of my rod. Net's trying to take me downstream. He was pissed off at the new net right there. But I'm going to give it a solid, honest effort, because you do get a lot more reach out of that 22-inch net. Whoop, there we go, another flopper. Almost directly above me. They look so small in that big net. They're hard to get the hook out, too, if it don't pop out on the net. Playing around in them small fish mouth without hurting them gets to be a pain in the neck. All right, now this time I might be actually successful at documenting one of these fish to see if it's wild or not. Last time he flopped right out of my hand. So quick, get him, get another one. I think it worked, drop him in. All right, back at it. Oh, nothing. I think I stayed for maybe 10 more drifts here. Couldn't tell, maybe bottom, maybe getting hits from small trout. So I fished it enough. I decided I'm going to move on. And then directly upstream we go. Now, this is a very beautiful long chute. Kind of got a little cover for the rock in front of me, and I got the slack water across the broken water, and then the broken water straight down the middle. And so I'm trying to work as close to me as I can first with good drifts. I probably should have started closer to the bank, but I just couldn't get a good frame shot the way that the river was doing. So I just said, you know what, I'm running short. I'll bull rush this and just start fishing right from the best looking water. And so I'm just doing a drift near, then a little further, then a little further, then a little further, and try to get all the way across the stream with a good drift as best as I can cast this weight rig. Now I think I do end up switching to heavier flies here eventually. But right now I still got a 3.3 on bottom, and then off the dropper I got a 2.8. You can almost see the sighter here. Bam, over in the calm stuff. Oh, missed him the first time. Almost fell down. Look out. I blame the big net. All right, nice little guy. get back at it, and no, get hooked on the net. Because you got to do that at least a half a dozen times or it's not even really a successful fishing trip. So the rubber netting on the fray bills is a little small, gets that 16 fly wrapped around it pretty easy. You know, it's just something you got to deal with. You could hire a net Sherpa and try to get those out for me eventually. All right, back at it. So back in there, look like I'm targeting, if I can see this sighter, yeah, I'm targeting the far seam where it's broken to come. Because that's where I picked up that fish, so now I want to focus on getting a few more good drifts right through there. And that should produce another fish if I remember right. 2 steps up, get a new angle. Still targeting that same thing. Now what I didn't do here, what I should have done, was start again close to me and work the whole stream. But I'm getting antsy and it's getting later. I think it's after 6 o'clock, maybe 6:20. So I only got about an hour left. So I just start bull rushing these holes and going right for where I think the best trout lie might be. You know, I went back to closer to me because I didn't catch any fish and probably realized I'd screwed it up. So maybe if there's some dumb ones. And there was. So I should have caught that fish before I started fishing across the seam. You always want to work close to you first because that's the most likely place you'd spook something is close to you. So get that water out of the way, then move up and do your normal cover the water. And of course I didn't follow that. But I ended up with that fish, so maybe it's broken enough that I didn't spook them. But I did not end up with many bigger than 8 inches, so I may have spooked those ones all out. And I don't know the pressure. I didn't see a single soul this entire trip, so that was great. But it was a Monday, so chances are good you're gonna not see people. Although if it's fished heavily, you usually see 1 or 2 people. Over in that foam line over there, you barely see the sighter. I want to try to publish this one in 4K too to see if it comes out better. But I have my doubts. The camera said it was overheating. So the action cam scouting trips are going to be short-lived if that thing doesn't work right. Alright, just keep covering the entire chute. You know, from where that broken water starts on the left of the screen all the way up, about 15 yards. Cover the whole thing. And then moved on up. Now I'm above that. Another chute. Another foam area. Right now on my screen, this looks really good. A little dark maybe. I'm just trying to cover the broken water right in front of me. You can see the sighter. Just got a little tightness. Hair trigger backwards. Not too hard when you're going back like I'm launching that fish earlier. You don't want to do that. But a little bit bigger fish. At some point I'm tying on a pale morning chartreuse mop and letting it rip because it's getting late. Maybe big fish are feeding. I don't know why. It works. It just works. You should always try it. Of some variety. My favorites are tan cream and chartreuse, but you should just try it. Every single place you fish. You never know. It's such an easy fly to cast too. Cast and drift. And I think it affects the way your tag moves. I've read articles on that. It's a great cleanup fly. I think we'll be able to see it when I catch one on it. You see that green slug flying out of its mouth like the movie Beastmaster. I think that's what they used to put in the guy's ears or something, make him crazy. They put a chartreuse mop in there. All right, get out there, Derek. Get after it. All right, now I can target that calm perfectly. Oh, nope, nothing. Oh, I hear the people walking behind me, so I know I'm going to catch one here soon. All right, flung the little guy out of there. What's trailing behind it? Yep, you can see it. I got the chartreuse mop on there. That one took the tag, though. I took the waltz on the tag. Another little guy. I did catch quite a few fish off the tag tonight. So both positions were working, which you love to see. Man, I'm struggling getting the flies out of the mouth of the little guys. All right, let's see what we got here. Getting over near that foam. Can't see my sighter. Too dark. Now I can see it. It's down near those roots. Nothing. Through that foam, kind of let it come out of the foam and into the current. Nice and slow. Nothing? Nope. What you got? Nobody likes it. It's a pale morning chartreuse mop. You need to eat it. Looking upstream and where I can go next. Boom. There it is. But on the dropper. No, not many takers on the pale morning chartreuse mop tonight. Lots on the waltz though. Lots on the pleva. It's on that little guy out of that little stretch. And since I'm really up high on that chute, I'm going to head on upstream for the last place that I fished, which looks beautiful. So I couldn't really figure out a good way to get down there to fish it. I didn't want to crawl over those logs and spook everything, so I went around the logs, and now I'm just kind of leaning on that rock. And I got the chartreuse mop waltz off the tag and just go through just right dead center, because this is getting late now. So I'm going after it, and then bang, second drift. And it just looks fishy. And that one is on the chartreuse mop. As you could tell, that looks fishy. So you knew there had to be fish in there. Second drift through. Which my first one was probably sloppy. I think it was second drift. First one looked sloppy. But I'm getting tired. Work all day. And I've been fishing for almost 3 hours now. Getting pretty tired. Getting pretty sloppy. And I cut it, but I think the next drift I wrap it right around the tree that's on the other side, and that ends the night. So, hope you enjoyed it. That's the Muscoot River.